Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh, coming up in the next 30 minutes. Israel says ceasefire could be delayed until Hamas names hostages, while Hamas says delay in providing the list of hostages due to technical reasons. In a dramatic move, TikTok, the widely popular video-sharing app with 170 million users in the United States, goes offline, stops working for US users. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi highlights the stupendous achievements by Indian scientists in the field of space during his first Mann Ki Baat of 2025. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu warned on Sunday that ceasefire in Gaza, scheduled to begin at 6:30 GMT, would not commence until Hamas provides a list of hostages to be released. With the Hamas group saying that the delay was due to technical reasons, Hamas says it was affirming its commitment to the terms of the ceasefire. Late on Saturday, Netanyahu had warned that the swap of Palestinian prisoners in exchange for hostages on Sunday would not happen unless the list of captives was provided. He also said that Israel reserved the right to resume the war if necessary with US support, and that current ceasefire was temporary.
The cabinet and the government approved the plan for the return of our hostages. This is an objective of the war of which we will not let go until it is complete. Both President Trump and President Biden gave full backing to Israel's right to return to fighting if Israel reaches the conclusion that negotiations of the second stage is fruitless. I appreciate it very much. If we need to resume fighting, we will do that in new ways, and we will do it with great force.
Earlier, hundreds of Israelis gathered in Tel Aviv on Saturday night on the eve of an expected ceasefire with Hamas and the release of hostages on Sunday. Families of hostages, joined by civilians from all walks of life, scientists, teachers and others, demanded the return of every hostage and an end to the conflict.
I'm in a huge roller coaster of emotion. I'm scared, I'm happy, I'm optimistic, I'm sad, I'm mad, I'm like everything. And the biggest thing that I'm doing is praying.
I'm thinking about in what state they will be when, of course, I was in captivity for 129 days. Today it's already 400 and too many days. They will return in a really difficult state. I hope we can give them all the love and all this embrace.
London police has arrested at least 7 people at a demonstration in Whitehall on the eve of expected ceasefire in Gaza and release of some of the Israeli hostages held by Hamas. Police tried to contain the protesters to Trafalgar Square, known worldwide for its statue of Horatio, and said they had arrested several people for breaching the conditions of the protest. The protest occurred amid growing tension surrounding the ongoing ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas, with protesters gathering to express their views on the situation. We now bring you some live visuals from the region as a media briefing is taking place. These visuals are coming in from Israel. The Gaza ceasefire was set to begin today, but there's been a delay, a technical delay it appears like. A list of hostages was demanded by leader of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu. Hamas says it's a technical delay. And DD India correspondent Akshay Dongre joins us live from New Delhi. I was tracking the story closely. Akshay, what does this yet another hurdle mean for Gaza ceasefire?
Well, Shubhendu, the ceasefire was supposed to begin at this time. In fact, at 1200 Indian Standard Time and 6:30 GMT. But what it seems right now that there is yet another hurdle as far as the implementation of ceasefire is concerned, and now objections are being raised by the Israeli leadership that the list of 33 hostages that are to return today, names of those hostages should also be provided. Now, there has been skepticism from both the sides as far as the ceasefire is concerned. But it's not a great sign to see the ceasefire getting delayed even before it started, and even before the implementation of this long-awaited ceasefire of the conflict. We are seeing yet another delay as far as the implementation is concerned. Now, clearly, there has been trust deficit between the two parties that we have been seeing. There have been attempts to implement ceasefire earlier as well, which could not even last for 24 hours. And in fact, even after ceasefire implementation, attacks continued from both the sides, and ground offensive also continued from the Israeli side when it comes to Gaza. But the long-awaited exchange of hostages that was to take place, a return of hostages that was to take place, is now delayed. Now, Hamas is saying that this is a technical error, a technical glitch that they have encountered, but it is only time that will tell us that what exactly will happen now as far as the implementation is concerned. Now, also on the ground, it remains to be seen that whether the Israeli operations that were continuing and that were to stop at 6:30 GMT, whether they will continue to take place, because there has been skepticism that Israel will continue its operation till the last minute before the implementation of the ceasefire. So we are now, in fact, the world is now waiting for the list of these hostages to be given to Israel, because clearly the Israeli leadership has cleared their stand that they will not they will not go ahead with this ceasefire implementation unless a list of these hostages is returned is given to the Israeli government.
And given this delay and the apparent trust deficit that you talk about between the warring sides, once again brings attention to how fragile this ceasefire agreement is.
Well, absolutely. In fact, Shubhendu, we have just heard, a few hours back, the Israeli Prime Minister, who said that Israel reserves the right to resume war. It has the weaponry, it has the capability to again restart the ground offensive. It goes on to show that even before the implementation of ceasefire, if the parties are talking about returning to war, then the ceasefire is extremely fragile. Now, one mistake from either of the sides can once again light this timber box that the region has become. In fact, it will only take one mistake or one misunderstanding or communication gap from either sides that may plunge the region back into a full-blown conflict. And once again, if the conflict begins, then there is no telling that how far this will go. In fact, these kind of breaking of ceasefires, violations of ceasefires, or delaying of ceasefires are in fact widening this trust deficit gap that we have been talking about. There have been attempts by several regional leaders and as well as world leaders when it comes the conflict is concerned to bring about a ceasefire, but that has not happened as of now. There were a lot of hopes that the ceasefire will be implemented, but now with the delay, now it is a game of wait and watch to see when does this ceasefire gets implemented on the ground in totality.
Akshay, thank you for joining us with those updates. To some other stories now. TikTok stopped working in the United States late on Saturday and disappeared from Apple and Google app stores ahead of a law that takes effect on Sunday, requiring the shutdown of the app used by some 170 million Americans. Other apps owned by ByteDance, including video editing app, CapCut, and lifestyle social app, Lemonade, were also offline and unavailable in the US stores as of late on Saturday. TikTok, which is owned by China's ByteDance, told users that a law banning TikTok has been enacted in the US. Unfortunately, that means one can't use TikTok for now. It also said they are fortunate that President Trump has indicated he will work with us on a solution to reinstate TikTok once he takes office. President-elect Donald Trump said earlier in the day he would most likely give TikTok a 90-day reprieve from the ban after he takes office on Monday, a promise that TikTok cited in a notice posted to users on the app. Meanwhile, earlier, India had banned 59 applications, including TikTok, and Share It in the year 2020, citing threat to national security and sovereignty. The ban covered a variety of applications from e-commerce to gaming, social media, browsers, instant messaging, and file sharing. US President-elect Donald Trump and his family reached Washington, D.C. ahead of the presidential inauguration. Arriving at Dulles Airport in suburban Virginia, Trump traveled to his golf club in Sterling, Virginia. Trump, along with his wife Melania and daughter Ivanka, celebrated his return to power, enjoying a fireworks show in Washington. Trump is due to hold a rally with supporters inside the Capital One Arena in downtown Washington on Sunday, the eve of his inauguration. He will be sworn in at 5 p.m. GMT. Malaysia's Foreign Minister Mohammed Hassan kicked off the nation's chairmanship of ASEAN by hosting a foreign ministers' retreat in Langkawi on Sunday. In his opening remarks, Hassan said the theme of Malaysia's leadership would be inclusivity and sustainability, highlighting the challenges posed by the climate crisis. ASEAN's centrality revolves over potential challenges, committed to addressing regional issues, with Beijing's assertiveness in the South China Sea. The region is a conduit for about $3 trillion of annual shipborne trade, has been the site of heated standoffs in the past 2 years between ASEAN member, the Philippines and China, a major source of region's trade and investment.
ASEAN's strength lies in the way it represents an entirely different model of engagement. One where shared decision-making transcends differences in governance. It is one where influence is not measured only by military might or economic power, but by the ability to foster dialogue, to encourage cooperation, and to build the trust necessary for global peace and prosperity.
The death toll from attacks by ELN rebels in Colombia has risen to 60 in the country's Catatumbo region near the border with Venezuela. The Ombudsman Office posted on social media that about 60 people have died violently, 32 were kidnapped and hundreds were displaced due to conflict in recent days between the leftist National Liberation Army and the now demobilized Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia. President Gustavo Petro last week accused ELN of committing war crime in the attacks and suspended peace talks with the group. The ELN, in a statement on Saturday, accused a faction of the FARC of having initiated the conflict by killing civilians and committing other aggressions. The FARC factions did not publicly respond to the allegation. On Friday, it said it had begun withdrawing its units to prevent the violence from escalating. A South Korean court on Sunday extended President Yoon Suk-yeol's detention for up to 20 days. Supporters of South Korean president stormed the court after the announcement of the extension. In a show of support for Yoon, protesters smashed windows and doors as they rushed inside the building. Though detained, President Yeol expressed shock and frustration by the violent incident. He called for people to express their opinion in a peaceful way while asking for police to show tolerance, according to his lawyer. With a requirement of either to petition to extend Yoon's detention or free the impeached president within 48 hours, South Korean investigators asked Seoul court on Friday to hold him for longer after he refused to be questioned. South Korean regulation required a suspect detained under a warrant to undergo physical exam. have a mugshot taken and wear a prison uniform. The leader is expected to continue to be held in a solitary cell at Seoul Detention Center. The United States has been battling massive wildfires that have ravaged in Los Angeles, killed at least 27 people. The fires have ripped through the United States' second largest city, reducing whole communities to scorched rubble and leaving thousands without homes. Officials are warning of incoming dangerous winds that could whip up blazes further. US President-elect Donald Trump, who has sharply criticized California's response to the devastating wildfires, is likely to pay a visit to the area next week after his inauguration. The fires have destroyed more than 10,000 structures in the residential enclave of Pacific Palisades and Altadena. Dozens of pilots from around the United States and Canada rushed to Los Angeles to drop fire retardant and water on fires encircling the city.
That afternoon, about right when we got here, is when we realized that this wasn't a normal fire. With the wind speeds, the rate of spread, and the amount of destruction just showing up on scene, and we knew we were going to be busy. It was going to be a dangerous rate of spread.
Still to come on this edition of DD India Live. India's Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar attends the cultural extravaganza Sea Lord 2025 in Lakshadweep. Railway Minister Ashwani Vaishnav to participate in World Economic Forum at Davos.
Timeless, boundless and infinite. The essence of faith, the soul of Sanatan culture, from the sacred confluence of Prayag, where divinity descends to earth. Witness the grandeur, the devotion, the magic. World's largest cultural and spiritual gathering, with over 450 million devotees expected to attend. Mahakumbh, India's greatest festival of faith. Exclusively on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed people in the 118th edition of his monthly Mann Ki Baat program, touching upon various topics and achievements of the country. Prime Minister urged all to work towards nation building. Here's more.
India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed countrymen in the first episode of the year 2025 of his monthly program Mann Ki Baat. The program takes place on the last Sunday of every month. However, this time, Mann Ki Baat was broadcast a week before on the third Sunday instead, as on next Sunday, India will be celebrating its Republic Day. Prime Minister Narendra Modi paid tribute to the personalities involved in making of the country's constitution.
इस बार का गणतंत्र दिवस बहुत विशेष है। ये भारतीय गणतंत्र की 75वीं वर्षगांठ है। इस वर्ष संविधान लागू होने के 75 साल हो रहे हैं। मैं संविधान सभा के उन सभी महान व्यक्तित्वों को नमन करता हूं, जिन्होंने हमें हमारा पवित्र संविधान दिया। संविधान सभा के दौरान अनेक विषयों पर लंबी लंबी चर्चाएं हुई। वो चर्चाएं संविधान सभा के सदस्यों के विचार, उनकी वो वाणी हमारी बहुत बड़ी धरोहर है।
PM Modi paid special attention to the stupendous achievements by Indian scientists in the field of space.
साथियों, कुछ दिन पहले हमारे वैज्ञानिकों ने स्पेस सेक्टर में ही एक और बड़ी उपलब्धि हासिल की। हमारे साइंटिस्ट ने सैटेलाइट्स की स्पेस डॉकिंग कराई है। जब अंतरिक्ष में 2 स्पेस क्राफ्ट कनेक्ट किए जाते हैं तो इस प्रक्रिया को स्पेस डॉकिंग कहते हैं। यह तकनीक अंतरिक्ष में स्पेस स्टेशन तक सप्लाई भेजने और क्रू मिशन के लिए अहम है। भारत ऐसा चौथा देश बना है जिसने ये सफलता हासिल की है। साथियों, हमारे वैज्ञानिक अंतरिक्ष में पौधे उगाने और उन्हें जीवित रखने के प्रयास भी कर रहे हैं। इसके लिए इसरो के वैज्ञानिकों ने लोबिया के बीज को चुना। 30 दिसंबर को भेजे गए ये बीज अंतरिक्ष में ही अंकुरित हुए। ये एक बेहद प्रेरणादायक प्रयोग है जो भविष्य में स्पेस में सब्जियों उगाने का रास्ता खोलेगा। ये दिखाता है कि हमारे वैज्ञानिक कितनी दूर की सोच के साथ काम कर रहे हैं।
PM Narendra Modi also acknowledged the fact that the initiative of Startup India completed 9 successful years and how the campaign has reached every nook and corner of the country.
हमारे देश में जितने स्टार्टअप्स 9 साल में बने हैं, उनमें से आधे से ज्यादा टियर 2 और टियर 3 शहरों से हैं। और जब ये सुनते हैं तो हर हिंदुस्तानी का दिल खुश हो जाता है। यानी हमारा स्टार्टअप कल्चर बड़े शहरों तक ही सीमित नहीं है। और आपको यह जानकर हैरानी होगी कि छोटे शहरों के स्टार्टअप्स में आधे से ज्यादा का नेतृत्व हमारी बेटियां कर रही हैं। जब यह सुनने को मिलता है कि अंबाला, हिसार, कांगड़ा, चेंगलपट्टू, बिलासपुर, ग्वालियर और वाशिम जैसे शहर स्टार्टअप्स के सेंटर बन रहे हैं तो मन आनंद से भर जाता है। नागालैंड जैसे राज्य में पिछले साल स्टार्टअप्स के रजिस्ट्रेशन में 200% से अधिक की वृद्धि हुई है। वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट, नॉन रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी, बायोटेक्नोलॉजी और लॉजिस्टिक्स ऐसे सेक्टर हैं जिनसे जुड़े स्टार्टअप सबसे ज्यादा देखे जा रहे हैं।
PM also drew parallels between Grand Kumbh Mela in Prayagraj, Uttar Pradesh and South India's Pushkaram. He termed Kumbh as the festival of unity in diversity.
कुंभ का आयोजन हमें ये भी बताता है कि कैसे हमारी परंपराएं पूरे भारत को एक सूत्र में बांधती हैं। उत्तर से दक्षिण तक मान्यताओं को मानने के तरीके एक जैसे ही हैं। एक तरफ प्रयागराज, उज्जैन, नासिक और हरिद्वार में कुंभ का आयोजन होता है, वैसे ही दक्षिण भूभाग में गोदावरी, कृष्णा, नर्मदा और कावेरी नदी के तटों पर पुष्करम होते हैं। ये दोनों ही पर्व हमारी पवित्र नदियों से, उनकी मान्यताओं से जुड़े हुए हैं।
The Indian Prime Minister concluded this edition of Mann Ki Baat broadcast by encouraging all to continue working in their own ways to contribute to make India the best nation in the world. Antara Sinha for DD India.
India's Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar attended the cultural extravaganza Sealhot 2025 during his 3-day visit to Lakshadweep, held on Bangaram Islands. The occasion highlighted deep cultural heritage and artistic diversity of India. The event brought together artists and performers from across the country to showcase the vibrancy and richness of Indian traditions. India's Minister for Railways, Information Broadcasting and Electronics and IT, Ashwini Vaishnav, will be participating in the World Economic Forum 2025 at Davos. His visit highlights India's commitment to driving inclusive growth and transformative development.
In the World Economic Forum at Davos, there is a lot of interest in understanding our thought process, Prime Minister's economic policy, about the digital transformation, about the way India has created a new digital architecture under Digital India program of Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, and also on the way the technology has been democratized by our Honorable Prime Minister's Digital India program. There is a lot of interest on this. There will be detailed discussion in the World Economic Forum about the inclusive growth, about the investment in social, physical and digital infrastructure, and on democratizing technology.
Let's turn to sports, talk about KOCO World Cup. Indian men's and women's teams advanced to the finals of the inaugural KOCO World Cup, while the Indian women once again showcased their tactical prowess, outplaying South Africa 66-16 in the semi-finals. The men's team also secured their spot in with 62-42 victory over team from the Rainbow Nation. The women in blue delivered a masterclass in both attack and defence, setting up an exciting final clash with Nepal. The hosts started off in style with dream run courtesy of Chaitra B, who continued even after Nazia Bibi and Nirbala Bhati were caught by the defenders. She single-handedly scored 5 points before being eliminated by South Africa's Zinthemba Mosia. The Hyderabad Tufans delivered a commanding performance to defeat Tamil Nadu Dragons 4-0 in Hockey India League, Jaipal Singh Stadium in Ranchi on Saturday. The victory marked Dragons' first loss of the season. Gonzalo Pellat scored twice, while Arthur Disluva and Tim Brandt's goals for the Tufans helped the team to lift them to the second spot in the league standings. The Dragons struggled to find their rhythm as Hyderabad's solid defence kept them at bay. Hyderabad closed the match with 18 penalty corners. With this victory, the Tufans are back in contention, keeping the race for the league title wide open. And in Australian Open, world number 1 Arya Sabalenka brushed aside teenager Mira Andreeva 6-1, 6-2 to romp into the quarterfinals on Sunday. Andreeva was simply unable to get going in the fourth round clash of Rotlever Arena as Sabalenka raised her level to extend her winning streak. In another match, 4 times Grand Slam champion Carlos Alcaraz advanced to the quarterfinals after British 15th seed Jack Draper retired injured while trailing the Spaniard 7-5, 6-1. That's all for this edition of DD India Live. Let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan this QR code on the screens to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live. Namaskar.